Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank all of you for participating today's public talk. Please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Nurul Husna Hasmi, and I am your moderators for today's event. Today, we are very honored to have Associate Professor Dr. Budi Wijaja Sucipto from University of Pertamina, Indonesia. How are you, Prof? I hope you are fine and have a great weekend today. And
I'm doing good. Thank you very much for asking.
all right, so before we get started, I would like to make a brief introduction about our speaker. Associate Professor Dr. Budi Wijaja Sucipto earned his PhD in Organizational Behavior and Manufacturing Management from Cleveland State University, Cleveland, Ohio, USA. Professor Budi also currently holds the position as the Vice Rector for Academics and Student Affairs at University of Pertamina, Indonesia since 2021. So, without further ado, I would like to welcome Associate Professor Dr. Budi Wijaja Sucipto to present his talk on how to shape the future of young employees globally. Please welcome, Doctor.
Thank you very much, moderator. So thank you very much again for the opportunity to present my thought on how to shape the future of your young employees globally. Next, please. So we know we are in a rapidly changing world. We have COVID. Actually, we've been having COVID for a pandemic since 2020. Indonesia since March 2020. I think around the world it's been uh, about 3 years. They were living in the pandemic era. Well, now it's going to the endemic, but still, the flavor of pandemic still there. However, we cannot stop moving, especially our young employees, because they still need the necessary skills. They still need to be professional at work. And I think the challenges and opportunities ahead are not even less, it's even more and more. So I think we need to empower them, we need to prepare them so they can be ready to face the global challenges. Next, please. So this is about talent. Wherever we are, it doesn't matter what kind of business, manufacturing, services, or others, employees are still very, very important. They are the heart and soul of a company. Even though the company has very sophisticated IT, for example, but still the ideas come from the employees. In other words, we need to keep improving them, encouraging their innovative ideas. They are not going to present or to bring us good or innovative ideas unless we develop them. So we have to invest in their development. It takes time, it takes money, it takes energy, but we have to do it. It's not only for them, but also for the long term success of the companies and the nation in general. So this is very, very important for the company, for the even the government to think about how to invest in the young talents because they can bring back values for us, for the companies, and for the country. Next, please. Yes, we have to develop them, but we have to understand what do they want. We cannot force them to develop into somebody else. So we have to be able to understand what they want, what are their career goals, their ambitions, their aspirations. So this knowledge is very important. So we know how to direct them, how to guide them to achieve their goals. Otherwise, we make them into somebody else and they are not going to be as professional as we expect. In order to understand their aspirations, we need to engage with our young employees. We need to understand them. We need to talk to them. We need to have conversation with them, so we can prepare according to their needs, not according to our needs. So it's important that they develop themselves into what they want to be, or into what they are, not into what we want them to be. That's the key point for this understanding. And it's not easy because generations gap can create can be challenges, can be a challenge. We have different thoughts, they have different thoughts. They are more technology minded, while the Gen X, like me, or even Gen Y, is less. They live in the pandemic era for 3 years. But yes, we did live in the same, we do live in the same era, but again, it's only 3 years of, for example, my life. Their 3 years are very significant years for them. The pandemic changed them. So we need to learn how the pandemic changed them. And of course, we need to learn uh, what they want to be. Next, please. In order to prepare them, I think we need not only give them theoretical knowledge, by the book or in class, but they have to have practical experience. I call them meaningful experiences. Why? Because from that meaningful projects, meaningful assignments, they can learn, they can grow their interests, they can develop their skills. Maybe their aspirations now is after these assignments, after these projects, the aspiration could grow to A plus B plus C. Just like what I have, for example, in the past. So I learned a lot from my experience. I grow my interest. I develop my skills. So more importantly, I think later on I will discuss about the network. By having experience, assignments, they know people more. They learn from people, not only from their experience, but also from people with whom they work. The more people they work with, the more experience, the more knowledge they may gain. So that enhance their professional growth and also contribute to the overall success of the organization. So meaningful usually means challenging, but meaningful doesn't always have to be challenging. Meaningful means they learn something, they earn something from the assignments. So that is very, very important. Next, please. This is about the learning and development is about culture, about habits. Okay, we understand that people now can learn from Google, from internet, from anywhere, from anything. But again, the culture is very important. Culture means they value learning. That learning is a lifelong experience. It's not just one time. They have to keep learning, and they have to seek to learn. They have to be active. We cannot always force them to learn. They have to grow the importance or the understanding of the importance of learning in themselves. We or a company can provide helps or facilities, for example, like training programs, mentorship, resources, helps all they need to enhance their skills and stay updated. But again, the courage has to come from them. Yeah, we can jumpstart the courage, the learning, but to continue in the future, they have to do the learning themselves because they are the ones who understand what they need, to understand what they want, to understand what the future looks like for them, not for us. So that's why culture is need to be fostered. So learning can come from them intrinsic, not extrinsic. we cannot always reward their learning, but they have to be able to reward themselves for the learning that they have engaged. Next, please. Mentorship and guidance, I mentioned, but mentorship, this is again related to the culture, related also to the assignments. As I presented earlier, that uh, challenging assignments or meaningful work experience is even enhanced if they are also, as if they also have a mentor. This mentor can explain, although it's not also in a formal way. They can explain, they can provide guidance, support, maybe insights, and they can be the person that they can ask if something, if they encounter something they don't understand or something new for them. So this interaction could create a knowledge transfer. It can boost their confidence that they can do even though the challenge is big, and also help navigate, help them guide through the challenges. Yeah, meaningful again means they have to be able to learn. Learning meaningful doesn't have to be challenges, but meaningful is they can learn every step of the way, and the mentors are very important. Mentors can explain the meaning. Again, meaningful, there has to be a meaning. So this meaning, okay, they can get the meaning. The young employees can get the meaning, but again, the mentor can help make them more understand, give them more insight, because they're more experienced, they're more professionals, they have a longer, much longer work experience compared to them. Next, please. Work-life balance becomes an issue when, especially when we have a pandemic, right? Yes, we work from home, but somehow a bit the time for ourselves and the time for work is getting blurred. Yes, we are now in a flexible working arrangement, but again, there is no time boundaries between work and life. That's why it's very important for the company to realize, to recognize the healthy balance. Yes, we have to learn. Yes, they have to learn. Yes, they have to grow. Yes, they have to develop. But again, they need time for themselves. And this balance, this work and life must be balanced. Balance doesn't mean 50-50. Okay, balance doesn't mean that okay, I work 8 hours. That means I need 8 hours for ourselves. It doesn't have to be like that, because the value, the meaning is more important than the time, the hours themselves. So, in addition to encouraging them to learn and to grow professionally, we have to also encourage them to take breaks, okay, to enjoy their lives, to do their hobbies, pursue their passions, okay, engage the activities that can increase their well-being mentally. Yeah, mental health becomes an issue now uh, because uh, because of this pandemic thing. We sit in front of the computer laptop for too long, and there is no time boundaries between work and life. Okay, and because of work from home, we become individual. Yeah, we don't have sufficient interactions with others, for example, like that. So that affect their well-being. Okay, because as a human, we have to have interactions with others. Okay, maybe others, significant others, who have similar passions, similar hobbies, or similar activities, so they can go together, for example, hiking or traveling, or do something else together. So there is interaction that helps. So well-being doesn't mean wealth. Well-being means also mental health. Okay, so wealth is not always the same as mental health. Next, please. Yeah, we live in a technology, advanced technology, in fact, and technology can help us grow ourselves. Like now, we learn, we don't have to meet each other. have never met the moderator, our moderator today, but again, we can engage in a good conversation because of the technology. So young employees can also learn without going anywhere because they have technology as tools. So they can use technology like live streaming today to learn, okay, to get something, to gain knowledge from the activities. So I think technology helps a lot, although we have to balance the use of technology with the interactions. Again, technology helps, but again, we have to understand that technology only a tool, only a tool to improve productivity. We need technology can help leverage innovation. Okay, but technology also changed, and we have to also learn the technology. So two things we have to learn. Number one is to learn the subject needed in the workplace. But number two, you have to also learn the technology. Technology also changes. This is first time I use the StreamYard, for example, and I learned, oh, there's StreamYard. This is part of the learning for myself. I think the young generation, the employees need to learn a lot about technology. Even they need to learn a technology that doesn't exist yet, that will exist maybe years from now. Okay, it's a very rapid development that we have to catch up, and that helps innovation, because innovation can come from imitation. We imitate first, and then we innovate from what we learn. So imitation is not always wrong. Imitation can be a foundation for innovation. There's a book called Imitate to Innovate. So imitation is always wrong. And unless we keep imitating, that's wrong. But we have to improve into innovation, although we start with imitation. Next, please. And one of the technology is digital technology. And we are transforming into more digital life. In other words, we have to embrace digital skills. We have to equip young employees with digital literacy, with this emerging technology, and all decision makings are now data driven. Okay, that means they have to first understand how the data is collected, and then they have to understand the data itself before they learn how to make decisions based on the data. Okay, there is what we call instinct or intuitions, for example, but still we cannot run away from the data. Now the data is provided more than ever, so we can get the data for free from the internet, for example. Like for my presentation, I got the information not only from the books I have or the journals, for example, but also from the internet, from research, from some companies. You know, that's also a learning process. I use the data, and then the company to think developing training programs for these skills. Training doesn't mean again in class. Company can assign them to a situation where they have to make decision based on the data, or assign them to collect the data, or assign them to understand the data. So understanding data is very important. Unless we understand the data, we cannot make an accurate decisions. Next, please. Leadership. They are now not all of them are in the leadership positions, but they are going to become leaders. And leadership is not only learned in a classroom, they have to be learned on hand. They have to learn how to lead. That's why it is important when they are assigned in a meaningful project or challenging assignments or challenging projects, for example. So they also learn how to lead. We cannot force them to learn particular styles. They have to develop, grow their own styles. And again, there is no best style in leadership. Any style could be effective. It depends on the person. Okay, that's why it's very important for them to be coached, to be exposed again to challenging roles, to be mentored. So they have to be given feedbacks, they have to be given inputs, they have to be given evaluation, and maybe recognition and reward if they are successful in leading a team or making decisions as a leader. So I think this experience could grow them into a leader. In many companies, there is what is called leadership pipeline, where they grow their leadership step from 1, 2, 3 to the top. So every step of the way, they have to learn something. They have to be given feedbacks so they can understand their mistakes. Again, uh, we cannot force them to adopt particular styles, but we can give them inputs. Okay, this is your situation. This is yourself. Okay, we can give them inputs, options about the styles. We can guide them, to particular styles that they are comfortable with. In the future, when they are in the actual top leadership positions, so they are rich with experience, rich with many styles. Leadership is not it's not rigid, it's not like we are wearing one particular dress or batik, for example, like that. They have to have collections of shirts, collection of dress shirts, collection of batik, for example, so they can adjust to particular situations. Oh, this situation require this style, another situation require another style. So they are rich with styles, because when they grow through the leaders pipeline, they learn each style, and they learn which style is more effective than others in that particular situation. Next, please. I mentioned earlier about collaboration networking. Yes, we work uh, from a laptop like today, but that doesn't mean that we don't do network. We don't collaborate. We can always collaborate with everybody else. With technology, we can help collaborate with anybody in the company, anybody in the world, even different industries. So we need to foster these connections and network, because connections and networks can enrich their experience, the young employees' experience, in a very young stage. When they are young, they need more and more experience from many different perspectives, and collaboration networking helps to enrich their perspective, so they know, okay, with this particular groups, they take this perspective, with the other part, with other groups, different perspective, and they can compare, they can learn, they can understand. And again, a mentor, like I discussed earlier, helps, because young employees can ask the mentor, sir or ma'am, what happened in this situation, why they act like that. So mentor can help explain, can help make them understand. But again, mentor or company cannot always create collaboration networking. Again, the culture for learning is very important for them. So they have um, intrinsic drive, internal drive to create collaboration networking, to know more people. The more they know, the more the networks, and the more the information, the more the knowledge. Maybe now they don't need this network that much, but no one knows in the future we can exploit or use or get the benefits from the network that we have built maybe years ago. Next, please. Global experiences. With the technology, we know that we feel closer and closer with the global world. We know the news, what happens in other countries right away, real time. You don't have to listen or watch to the news, for example, like before in television. Now, YouTube, internet, social media can provide us with information. So we know what happens in the other part of the world. So we have to encourage them to work or study abroad. It can either with the work assignment or staff exchange, for example, or maybe study abroad or take courses abroad. Assign them in international projects or collaborate with our partners from other countries. By engaging with people from different backgrounds or different cultures, so they can understand, they can gain more perspectives. So this is related to the networking. So network, yes, they learn, but global network, they learn even more because you understand why particular people from particular countries act like this. Okay, so when they are assigned abroad, they can have an empathy for people from different part of the world. So global experiences foster cultural competence because they understand other countries' culture and they can broaden their view about the world. Next, please. This is looks simple, but sometimes company forget or ignore celebrating achievements. We need the young employees to be recognized and rewarded, so they know that they succeed. They know that they have performed according to our standard, although maybe not perfect performance, but still they can uh, take care of the hurdles. They contribute to the company. This thing is important for their enhancement, their progress, so they know how far they progress of the learning process. Okay, this reward or recognition can motivate them. Okay, can create confidence, so they feel that they can do it. They have confidence that they can do it, so they can even learn more in the future, and also can create what we call culture of excellence or healthy competition, meaning that they know that performance or achievements are recognized. So in the future, they try to achieve more, they try to perform more, and don't forget the feedbacks, don't forget the resources. Okay, we cannot expect them to perform, but we don't provide resources. We don't provide helps. We can just, ask them, but let them do it by themselves. That's not fair. So that's why it's important again, if in the beginning what they want, and then we put them in the right place, and then we challenge them appropriately, so they understand what they have to do, they understand how to excel, and they know that it's not easy. They know that there is competition, but it's a fair competition, open, transparent, so everybody understand what it takes to get the recognition and the reward. Next, please. So this is the last slide. So I think we need to prioritize the needs of the young employees because they are our future. If our companies want the brighter future, the better performance, we need to focus on the young employees because they are the ones who will take over the leadership of the company. And we cannot expect them to excel, to grow, if we don't empower them, give them challenges, give them meaningful work experience to be professionals. And don't forget to create an environment when they can thrive, they can excel. Environment means tools, environment means procedures, environment means rules, environment means supports for them so they can achieve what the company wants and also what they want. And again, shaping the future of your employees globally requires multi-faceted approach. It cannot be one approach. Okay? It cannot be just education or skills. We need also mentorship. We need also diversity experience. Again, networking, collaboration, global experience, a diverse experience, very important. And don't forget the well-being, the mental health. Okay, we want to develop them. We don't want to stress them out. And the last but not least, the leadership. They are going to be our future leaders. So providing them with the leadership experience is very important. And those require investment in their potential. We have to provide resources, of course, money, support again, and time. Their development needs time. We cannot rush them. Everybody is different. So by understanding all of this, we actually lay foundation for the prosperous future, not only for them individually, but also for the organizations. So thank you very much for for the attention, and I'll cater the Q&A. I'll hand back to the moderator. Thank you. You are still mute. We cannot. The moderator is still mute.
I'm sorry. Sorry. Okay. So thank you so much, Professor, for your sharing. And if you have any questions, please write down your questions in the chat box and I will read it out for you. But while waiting for the questions from the viewers, I have a question to you, Professor.
Yes, please.
So, people are saying that young employees nowadays are quitter, meaning that they tend to give up easily on their job,
Hmm.
on whatever they have now.
Yeah.
So, what is your takes on this opinion?
Yeah, I understand that young employees are not patient enough. Um, so they want to rush, right?
Yeah.
They want to jump here and jump there to get assignments, challenging assignments. And not all organizations, including my organization, my university, can provide all the challenges. We can understand that. We have to respect that. Yeah, some of our employees left the university for bigger company or even bigger university, for example, like that. And it's okay if for their development. So sometimes we have to let them go. So let them go is part of their learning process. Yeah, I still, for example, communicate with some of my ex-employees, for example, just asking, "What are you doing? How are you doing? Where are you?" Something like that. You know, and I'm happy that they grow, although it's not in my organizations. University is small. I mean, structurally, yeah. Ibu Nur understand, right? University structures are not like a big company like Petronas, for example. Everywhere. University is very small, but university is full of the talented people. Some we can hold, some we have to let them go. Okay, we can talk to them. That's why it's important to work with them every step of the way. So we understand. We explain. Okay, this is your job. You know, this is what you are going to learn. Okay. Again, they can say yes, they can say no. If they say, "Oh, this is not enough for me. I want something bigger," for example. Okay, go ahead. Yeah. We have also, again, like in university, we have also staffs going for master's degree. We have to let them go. Because they got scholarship. Although he's very good, I need him, but again, he has better opportunities. Yeah, we cannot hold them. We cannot ask him to come back. It's his decision whether to come back or work some in other organizations. For example, I asked him, "What are you going to do? Are you going to go back to university, or we are going somewhere else?" Even my own assistant, I encourage her, okay, you go for PhD, okay, and then we cannot provide them with like stipends or something like that. No financial support. So she went for PhD in UK by herself. I mean, getting the scholarship, of course, not from our university. And then after she finished, and she doesn't want to go back, and I respect that. Okay, good. As long as we have good relationship, somehow in the future maybe we can our path cross again. So that's a good thing. So that's my take. I mean, we have to respect their impatience. We have to understand that our organization is not big enough for them, maybe not big enough for the speed. Yeah, we have to let them go. Yeah, we have to think that developing young employees or young talents is not only for our organization. We cannot be egoistic. you know they have to stay. I always tell to my young employees, you I understand you don't want to work in this organization all of your life. I don't want you like my father working in one organization for 38 years. Well, now it's not healthy. They can zigzagging, go out and then go back again and then go out again. you know so maybe because we have good relationship, when they are well developed, they can come back and contact me. Pak, can I work with you again? Because I know you encourage me, blah blah blah, something like that. So that's my take.
Okay. Professor, we have another question.
Yeah.
I notice new generation, they don't like to think out of the box. They're just waiting for
Hmm.
our instruction to do
Okay.
for next step. How to encourage them to be independent?
Yeah, I think technology helps. You know, we I encourage them to learn also from the internet. Yeah, I don't give them even a slight clue. You know, just go out there, come back to me with your own ideas. I said I don't blame you for the mistakes. I can understand the mistakes, okay, but I'm not going to blame you because I know you're in the learning process. So we all learn. So I think the fear is they are going to be blamed if they make mistakes, because they don't follow the instructions. Number one, the instruction have to be clear. Number two, the instruction have to give them room for actions, a latitude for actions, flexibility. It's not like A, B, C, exactly follow. No, I never ask them like that. I always ask their opinions. What do you think? This is what I want. What do you think? Can you? What is your ideas to get this? For example, like that. So be more of a discussion rather than instructions. Yes, we have instruction, we have the procedure, we call it SOP, right? But again, this is we have to encourage them not to violate the regulations, but we cannot also ask them to comply fully. You know, uh, that creates again, don't think out of the box. So we have to encourage them to go out of the box. Okay, give your ideas. It doesn't matter right or wrong. There is no wrong ideas. Yeah, you uh, you are wrong if you don't give ideas. That's what I always say. Give me ideas. There is no right or wrong of the ideas. But if you don't have ideas, you are wrong. So that's uh, my take.
Okay, Prof, we have another question.
Uh,
Some company don't want to train the employees, thinking that they train the employees for others when the employees leave the company.
yeah, yeah, that's the attitude of some companies. I know. Again, this attitude comes because they think that when they develop, they have to work in their company. So developing young employees need broader perspectives. Again, we have to let them go. Although I know we don't get the return yet, you know, I teach one employee, for example, one young employee, the skill, everything, the trick, the strategy, everything. But I have to expect that he or she will leave at any time, and I have to be okay because they can thrive with my knowledge somewhere else, and I'm happy for that because if they thrive, I have network outside, right? If they are working at the company, I don't have well, I have network, but inside the company, if they are out, they quit. I've networked in other companies. That's the attitude that the company must have. They can work in the competitor, yes, okay. But again, if, for example, I need information because I support them when they quit, and then they will give me information. Well, this is not confidential information. For example, this is information at the coffee shop. We talk, we have lunch together or coffee together, for example, and we talk. I learn from them. Oh, I see. Because I don't have everything. I don't have knowledge, even though I, you know, live much more than them. But that doesn't mean I have all knowledge. They may have knowledge that I don't have. So exchange very important. I learn from them. So that's what I experienced. I have a network from my ex-employees, from my ex-colleagues, for example. He quit, I stay. But he thrive. He becomes somebody in the company. And I need his company support because I know him. I call him. Oh, yeah, Pak Budi, of course. Because he knows that I support him, even though he quit. He said, sorry, but no problem. It's your right. Okay, no problem. It's again the perspective for developing young employees cannot be egoistic. Cannot be okay. You have because you learn from me. You have to work from me. No. Okay. You learn from me. You can work for somebody else. But again, I have network over there. I get the benefits. Not only because not they don't have to work in the same company or my subordinates, for example. But I can still get benefits because he worked for some other companies that I need, to collaborate. That's my thing.
So okay, we have some response from your answers just now.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, I understand. I agree. With the employees that I said, I always say a human capital. Human capital is it's not the yeah, capital is an asset. We have to grow our asset. We have to grow our value. So that's part. My job as a top leaders, for example, is to grow their asset. Okay, if they have more asset, then I would get somehow the benefits. This is called social exchange, not economic exchange. Economic exchange says that if you pay 10, you have to give 10. You have to get 10. Okay? Social exchange is not like that. Social exchange is I give 10, I may not get exactly 10 next day or next month, maybe 10 years from now. Well, that happens to me. You know, I grow because of their growth, because of the network, because of people that I develop, for example, like that. So I develop people, they became somebody, and they somehow help me in the future. Not help, full help, maybe help, small help. In the airport, for example, my ex subordinate, for example, worked somehow in that authority when a long queue, and then he saw me, Papa, come here, Pak. You don't have to queue that long. And he helped me. Very small. But at that time, I needed. That's just one little example. You know, if we can respect them, we can understand their needs. We have to, including let them go, and somehow it pays back. Then I believe that.
Right. I think that's all from for now because I don't see any more questions. So I think I'll just wrap this session. So thank you so much, Professor, for spending your time and to share
Thank you.
with us your expert takes on this topic. We ap- appreciate it so much because I think we gain some knowledge, some ideas on how to shape the future. I mean, future employees are future leaders, right? So I think this topic is very beneficial for every one of us because all of us are employed and all of us are, get involved in corporate world, in the working environment. So we have the idea on what's going on. So with that, I would like to close this session by also thanking all viewers for taking part in
Oh,
our
I
talk.
have,
Yes, Doctor.
yeah, just one more example that I saw myself. So there's
Mm.
a company, it's a famous company. Maybe if you have mentioned, everyone knows, but I don't mention that because it's some kind of confidential. They have agreement with one of the vendors, so they loan the employees
Mm.
to learn from the vendors, and the company still pay the salary. And then if they choose to move to the vendors, they're okay. That's amazing. I mean, they pay the salary, they work from somebody else, the vendor, of course, but the goal is to learn how the vendor works. Okay, because this company needs the supply, the materials from this vendor, so they loan the employees. And when the employees say, "Sir, I think I'm happy you work here," well, go ahead. So they let them go. I mean, that's great. But again, I asked the boss, why you let them go? Well, I have network in that vendor. I have somebody in the vendor to understand us, so we can work even better. So that's a goal. That's amazing. I mean, that the mentality have to be installed in our companies. Understand the value of losing employees. The value again, losing but still valuable. We say if retaining is valuable, right? Now how we realize the value of losing employees. It's, of course, we are not to kick them out, keep everybody out. Of course, not like that. It depends. But again, losing can be valuable if we understand the point of losing the employees. Again, not all, okay? If they don't perform, that's another story. But this is very well performed employees. And they said, sorry, I have to, I think because of many, many, many reasons, right? Like his house close to the vendors, simple thing. And the company said, okay, go ahead. You move there. I'm happy. I was like, wow, she is very good employees at that time. And he said, don't worry, I know her. I know he's going to be loyal to me. I know she's going to help me. Even though she's there, something. Sorry, I interrupt you. Suddenly I remember something.
It's okay. It's okay because it's a interesting sharing because um the company itself. understand the concept of win-win situation. It's not just for the company, but it's also for the employees, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's all from us. Um, by the way, thank you so much, Professor, for your time, for
Yeah.
your interesting shares with us, and I hope maybe in the future we can work on something together. Um, and have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too. Thank you, everybody. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
the comments, for the questions. Thank you for the appreciations. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
See you again. Thank you.